Thank you very much for that. Our fourth speaker is Dr. Mina-Osorio, who will highlight the pivotal role of women leaders in medicine and research to her personal experience as a minority physician scientist. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation, Your Royal Highness, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, and girls in STEM listening somewhere around the world. As a physician scientist, I will speak about leadership and entrepreneurship in the healthcare industry, specifically exploring the barriers that we must collectively dismantle to increase female representation. The panel that we are in highlights the importance of separately exploring women's entrepreneurship as a key driver of economic growth. However, as I just said in the previous panel I participated in, the Girls in STEM at the Expo, this exploration requires a comprehensive approach, as my previous speaker mentioned, that extends beyond gender alone. Initiatives for supporting and empowering women leaders, particularly in business, must encompass a more detailed evaluation of multiple dimensions, and that includes race and ethnicity, immigration status, sexual orientation, and many other aspects that make us who we are. Incorporating these dimensions paints a richer portrait of a woman entrepreneur and a woman leader, and it enhances our ability to break down barriers. Let's peel back those layers, starting, of course, with gender. While we are far from achieving gender equality in the healthcare industry as a whole, our field, I am happy to report, continues to outpace all other industries in the representation of women. Female representation in healthcare increased, in fact, across all levels in 2023 compared to the previous years, especially in senior level positions, with 45% of vice presidents and 32% of C-suite leaders in the US and Canada being women. These numbers are actually not that dissimilar worldwide, with the healthcare and care services industry continuing to be a female-dominated field, with almost 68% of the healthcare workforce being women. However, when we add another layer, race and ethnicity, the landscape shifts dramatically. With only 6% of C-suite level positions held by women of color and only 1% held by Latinas. The pipeline of women of color sees a drastic drop-off of about 2/3 in representation if we go from entry-level positions to C-suite positions, accompanied by challenges that we all are aware of, such as increased microaggressions. Disparities based on race and ethnicity are prevalent worldwide. And importantly, we cannot forget that those disparities begin early in life. As the Global Gender Gap report highlights, the pandemic has had tremendous impact in healthcare workers, particularly women in healthcare, and it has disproportionately, once again, affected women of color. For example, the number of Black women and Latinas promoted to manager per 100 men has fallen back to pre-pandemic levels. Adding more layers, LGBTQ+ individuals and women with disabilities. They report facing even more microaggressions, which leads to higher attrition that further decreases their representation in leadership positions. That's not only true in healthcare, of course, it's across STEM fields. Now, most of this data and information that I have shared so far pertains to leaders within larger organizations like me. But economic development relies on innovation by which entrepreneurs create new businesses. So if we venture to entrepreneurship in healthcare, now we introduce yet another layer to consider when developing tools to support women in leadership and quantify progress. Despite this complexity, women are actually, according to data worldwide, are much more likely than men to start businesses in healthcare-related industries. Femtech as we have come to call it, which sits at the intersection between technology and female health, is a rapidly growing segment with a projected growth to $103 billion by 2030, showcasing significant progress and potential. Now let's talk briefly about studies that examine factors that influence the participation of women in entrepreneurship. When you look at those data, they reveal barriers like lack of mentorship and role models, social acceptance issues, lack of funding, and stereotypes. Speaking of stereotypes, I added this morning, maybe it's time we stopped portraying health tech, biotech, and pharma as the dark side. Maybe it's time we start showing stories and images of women scientists wearing suits, sitting in board meetings, running large teams. We really need to become role models. So I began my statement by acknowledging the undeniable significance of women's entrepreneurship as a catalyst for economic growth. And throughout my talk so far, I have emphasized the vital importance of recognizing the interconnection between all these other dimensions and the interconnection between sustainable development goals. SDG 5, gender equality, cannot be achieved without significant progress in other goals, like SDG 4, quality education, or SDG 10, reducing inequalities and supporting marginalized and disadvantaged communities. Therefore, to foster an environment that empowers women entrepreneurs, we must create resources that are tailored to the subgroups that I've discussed who face distinct challenges. We must also support women at all stages of the entrepreneurial journey. As leaders from diverse sectors, we must harness our influence, beginning at the grassroots level and focusing in our children and our youth. So I want to close my statement by precisely giving a call to action, by humbly encouraging my fellow women leaders, particularly in health tech, femtech, and biotech, to consider embracing the principles that I have adopted as part of my own little grassroots initiative that I call Un Doctor, por favor, a doctor, please. That initiative helps to increase the representation of Latinas in medicine. These are the three pillars that I have adopted: information, motivation, and inspiration. Information by sharing statistics, like I just did, with other leaders and students to encourage change. As Sheryl Sandberg says in Lean In, we cannot change what we are not aware of. And once we are aware, we cannot help but change. Second, motivation. Become mentors. Mentorship in academia is standard, but in biotech, it's rare. It's been one of the most rewarding activities of my career. And we can make a tremendous difference by simply extending a helping hand to those following in our footsteps. Finally, inspiration. Our stories of both struggle and success are powerful tools for change because they teach both ambition and resilience. If we want to change the representation of women in leadership positions, we must ensure our youth persists until true equality across all dimensions is achieved. I believe that those of us who have achieved any level of success despite our disadvantages have a moral obligation to contribute, and together we can make a lasting impact. Representation matters, and in healthcare and across STEM fields, representation saves lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I thank all the panelists for their informative interventions.